Brian Roach, and you and I have talked about this a number of times. I think, without blowing my own trumpet, I've been proved to be right. This was...
Hey, if there's anything Luxon wants to do to Mike Hosking, it's blow his trumpet. So, yeah.
Without blowing my own trumpet.
That's your job, Luxon. Without blowing my own trumpet while you're down there, cradle the balls.
Of leaking in the public service. They don't like you. They're out to get you.
It's true.
Well, they may not like us. The point is we have a politically neutral public service.
No, you don't.
No, well,
You've got a bunch of leakers.
Well, we've got some leakers. I mean, I think, and the problem is those leaks actually undermine the actual other people in the public service who are actually very, very good. And I think that's...
How does that work? How does a leak, like, forget the government, if you're a secretary in a big business, front desk person, and you leaked, how does it undermine the salespeople out the back? Just trying to figure that one out, actually. I think it might undermine the government, but I don't think it undermines it. It sounds like Luxon's trying to go, well, the people you're most being unfair on are your colleagues. And the colleagues are going like, no, we're right. Yeah, no, it's not us who are being embarrassed by these leaks. But apparently Luxon seems to think that this is most going to impact other public servants.
Pretty unfair. Right. So I don't know whether it's more or less than what other governments have encountered.
But I mean, what's he going to...
I'm guessing more. Just a guess, but... I'm guessing
it seems more.
Yeah, it seems
almost
more.
Immediately.
Does seem more.
Do about it.
Well, I mean, we've just got to keep reiterating the point, and we've got to keep investigating them when they happen if we can.
Is that good enough?
Because I'm more worried about what it does to undermine the public service. Now, the question is, you can, in a democracy, you can do wholesale regime change like you do in the US when a new government comes in, they're political appointees. Even in Australia, there's a period of time where there's political appointments made early in a new government. I don't think New Zealanders want that. They like the idea of a politically neutral public service.
Didn't they do that?
Well, he's probably more talking about, when Trump came in, they were talking about these 5,000 government workers that Trump's now going to replace. I don't know. I mean, what they are doing is getting rid of people out of the public service that probably forces managers within the public service to by force, with their arm up their back, show them more loyalty for fear of losing their own jobs. But officially, they're not sacking people and replacing them with nationalites.
Political appointees, I'd say that guy Levy.
Within management.
Political appointee, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And we have hemorrhaged public sector workers with their big cuts.
Yeah.
And you've got to think, like, if you're a public servant and you can read the fucking tea leaves of what's coming from this government, that you're going to mainly cull a lot of lefties, right?
You would think so. That would be the target demographic to be gotten rid of.
So I think this is disingenuous. Like, he has culled a lot of people out of the public sector, and he has made political appointments to important positions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Important positions, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think every government does do that as well. Every government does do those. I was going to say the CEOs of the departments. No, that's not necessarily true. So, And, like, even if they were already there, like I think Margie Upper was already there for Te Whatu Ora, she very quickly snapped into line, didn't she? And that's why I'm saying I think they may have arm up the back forced loyalty through fear of get in line or get out sort of thing. It's my way or the highway. So that might be something that did happen. But,
I mean, I think when you look over a longer period of time, the sheer lack of leaking coming out of the public sector on average suggests that most people take that politically neutral stance very, very seriously. I know my friends that are public servants will even take that to the point of how they speak to me. Having officially
Chewie, we're off the record. Chewie, you can't say this. Chewie, you can't say this on your show. That kind of vibe?
Almost. Like, as an IRD worker, I can't possibly have an opinion. But I have heard people say, there's ways around it, and I'm not talking about anything serious. But what I am talking about here, when someone actually goes and drops something on the front desk of Radio New Zealand and goes, you guys should the public needs to know this. Like, that's, I think even calling it leaking is minimizing it. I would call it whistleblowing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Whistleblowing seen as good, leaking seen as bad. Where's the line? Now, you've mentioned RNZ. We're going to get to them in a sec. Let's just get the last 30 seconds of this.
I think we've got relatively few leaks. I know, it's frustrating when you see it, but the bottom line is, compared to the amount of work we're doing, I mean, we turned 52 bills into law last year in our first
52 bills into law. Just pause on that for a moment. That means they made one new law every single week. I don't know about you, Chewie, but I always find that the people who work fastest without thought or without, for example, regulatory impact always make the best policy. That's like those builders who don't work off plans. They always make the best houses, eh? Yeah, I always think they do.
This is why when people talk about speed in politics, it's like, well, have you done this fast or have you done this well? I mean, you can do something fast well, but I don't think that that's its natural state, right?
No, I agree.
To think of the loopholes and after effects and laws of unintended consequences, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and how many under urgency? Absolutely.
Yeah, or under urgency and or fast tracked.
We turned 52 bills into law last year in our first part of the year. I mean, that's incredible. No one's done that for ages. We've done more work, I think, in half a term than people have done in 2 terms.
Passing more bills and doing more work are not necessarily the same thing. I would say that.
History. So, there's a lot of throughput going through, and I just think it's disappointing because it undermines the public service. And I think, it's a decision for Brian to get.